What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! OCG TCG video. Today, guys, we are going to be discussing the new Dracoslayer support that is set to release in Darkwing Blast. Very excited to be going over these cards with you guys, so without further ado, let's jump right into it. So, as per usual with these card game videos, I'll go over the monsters first, then the extra monsters, and end it off with the spells and traps. And the first card that we're going to be discussing is Ignis Phoenix, the Dracoslayer, a level 4 Fire Warrior Pendulum Effect monster with 1700 attack and 1900 defense, with a pendulum scale of 7. Its pendulum effect reads, you can only use the pendulum effect of this card's name once per turn. During your main phase, you can shuffle one face-up pendulum monster from the extra deck into the deck, then add one Dracoslayer or Ignite monster from your deck to your hand, except a pendulum monster. So this card is cool for being able to get obviously like your boss monsters of your respective deck. You know, if you're playing a Dracoslayer deck, obviously you can search Masterpiece off of this, and for Ignite you can search Lancer and Champion as your two choices. So it's cool for what it does search. I do think it does suck that you can't search for any of the other cards and you can only search for the boss monsters, which is not bad, don't get me wrong. I just think the option would have been cool, but I do understand why they don't do that, because if they allowed you to be able to search for the pendulum monsters, this would basically be Dracoslayer's equivalent to Perform Pal Monkey Board, where it's basically a one scale pendulum monster, to where basically you can add the other pendulum monster in your hand, put it onto your other pendulum zone, and then you can pendulum summon basically for free. So yeah, I understand why it makes it to where you can't have the option to go into your other pendulum monsters, so that way you can set up the scales and easily pendulum summon like that. I completely understand. It does suck in the limitations because you only can search 3 cards off of this effect, but it's not really that bad. I mean, you're getting the boss monster anyway, so that's pretty cool in my opinion, and the cost for it isn't really that bad. Being able to shuffle back a monster from your face-up extra deck back into your deck, not really that big of a cost at all. It's very easy to get monsters into your extra deck. So yeah, the pendulum effect, not really that bad. I just kind of wish you had a little bit more options, but being able to get the ace monsters is not that bad at all in my opinion. But going into the monster effect, its monster effect reads, this card is always treated as an Ignite card, so basically you can play this in Dracoslayer or Ignite, and basically it has the same capability. You can only use the monster effect of this card's name once per turn. If this card is on the field, is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon one Dracoslayer or Ignite monster from your deck, except this card, and if you do, it is treated as a tuner. So this is actually a really solid card, in my opinion, from its monster effect perspective, because it basically allows you to search the same cards that you could from its pendulum effect, but even more. And not only that, you get to special summon it from the deck. So the cards I mentioned earlier, you know, Masterpiece, Ignite, Lancer, and Champion, you can special summon those from the deck, but also you can special summon any other Ignite monster or Dracoslayer monster that you want. And what's cool about it is that it's going to be treated as a tuner, and if you're able to get another pendulum monster out to your field, this basically gives you the capability to go into your Ignister Providence, which is really solid in my opinion, because Ignister Providence is just such a good card. So being able to go into that powerful synchro monster by allowing you to be able to special summon any Dracoslayer or Ignite monster to your field, and getting a tuner monster basically to your field, so that way you can go into that monster. Yeah, this is a very solid effect in my opinion, and overall, I actually do think this card is a really solid card in my opinion. So with that said, the next card that we're going to be discussing is Majesty Pegasus, the Dracoslayer. So we went over the Ignite Dracoslayer, and now we're going over the Majesty Dracoslayer. So that's pretty cool. It's a level 4 wind spellcaster pendulum effect monster with 1500 attack and defense, with a pendulum scale of 2. Its pendulum effect reads, you can only use the pendulum effect of this card's name once per turn. If you have a Dracoslayer or Magispector card in your other pendulum zone, you can add one Dracoslayer pendulum monster with a different original name from your deck to your hand, then you can destroy one card in your pendulum zone. So this is actually a really interesting card to say the least, and funny enough, actually has some good synergy with Ignis Phoenix, because what you can do is that since you'll have another Dracoslayer monster in your pendulum zone, aka Ignis Phoenix, you can add your Dracoslayer pendulum monster from your deck to your hand. Then, funny enough, you could actually pop this card, because it doesn't say you can't pop this card specifically. basically you can pop Majesty Pegasus, and then since you have a face-up monster in your extra deck, you can basically use Ignis Phoenix's effect, bring this card back to your deck, and then you get to search for your masterpiece from your deck to your hand. So that's actually really cool. So you basically get 2 searches from these 2 cards. So really cool synergy there, and honestly, this is actually a pretty cool card in my opinion. And even if you don't have Ignis Phoenix and you just have another Dracoslayer or even a Magispector, because it could be either of the 2, so you kind of seeing the synergy between Dracoslayer and Magispector for this card specifically, you can just pop one of those cards if you don't want to pop this card, and you still get your Dracoslayer Pendulum monster to your hand. So pretty cool card in my opinion. But that's it for the Pendulum effect of this monster. Let's dive into its monster effect, which reads, this card is always treated as a Magispector card. Not really too surprised, the last one was for Ignites, this one is for Magispectors now. And you can only use the second monster effect of this card's name once per turn. Quick effect, you can discard this card until the end of this turn. Your opponent cannot target Dracoslayer monsters you control with card effects. Also, they cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. If this card is Pendulum Summoned or Special Summoned by Dracoslayer's card effect, aka you can use Ignis Phoenix's effect to be able to Special Summon this card, so that's pretty cool. You can add one field spell from your deck to your hand, then discard 1 card. Oh, wait a minute, hold on a minute. So let's discuss the first effect first. Basically, it's a hand trap that gives protection to your Dracoslayer monsters from card effects. That's really cool in my opinion. I really do like when any card gives protection to your monsters, and the fact that it's card effects, I always will prefer that more than by battling. So really do love that first effect, and the fact that it's basically a hand trap is actually really weird in my opinion, but I actually like it. But holy crap, that second effect. I mean, you get to search for any field spell, so I guess for like Magispectors, you know, you can add the Pegasus. I know Dracoslayer got a new field spell in this support, so you can basically add that, or you can add, you know, like Dragon's Ravine, you know, you can do some cool stuff with that, or, I don't know, maybe you can search something like, I don't know, maybe like Mystic Mine or something like that. Like, seriously, are you freaking kidding me? That card is already a problem. Now we have an easy way to search it with this card. Like, what the hell, dude? Now, I understand why it's generic, because it's allowing you to be able to search for Magispector field spells or for the Dracoslayer field spells. And hell, you can even do it for the Ignite or Dynamist field spell as well if you want to do it that way. But the fact that this card basically makes it an easy way to get in the Mystic Mind is beyond broken. That card is already dumb enough, and that card needs to be banned. If I'm going to be completely honest, that card should have been banned a long time ago, and luckily enough, the OCG doesn't have to worry about it. But if Mystic Mind does not get banned by the time this set comes out, boy oh boy, for the people that hate Mystic Mind, you're about to hate it even more, because guess what? There's going to be an easy access for it. So yeah, great second effect, and even just without Mystic Mind in the ideal picture, you know, being able to search for any of the Dracoslayer or Magispector field spells, or even in just like any field spell like the Dragon's Ravine I mentioned earlier, because this deck is primarily, you know, a dragon deck. You know, this is not that bad of a card at all in my opinion, but boy oh boy, I am not a big fan of the fact that you can search Mystic Mind off of this. Oh boy, we're in for a rude awakening. But with that out of the way, let's go into the next card, which is Dynamite Powerload, the Dracoslayer, a level 4 water machine pendulum effect monster with 1700 attack and 1800 defense with a pendulum sale of 6, and you can only use the pendulum effect of this card's name once per turn. You can target one Dracoslayer or Dynamist card in your other pendulum zone, special summon it. So now we're seeing this synergy with Dynamist and Dracoslayer. The last 2 cards was for Ignite and for Magispector, and now we have the Dynamist version, and being able to target a Dracoslayer monster or a Dynamist card in your other pendulum zone and being able to special summon it, I mean, that's cool, so that way you can use the monster effect capabilities. I mean, that gets an easy way for Ignister Phoenix to get off of your pendulum zone and onto your field, so that way you can pop it with like another card effect to be able to basically get that card, so that way you can search for your Majesty Pegasus, so that way you can search your Mystic Mind. Like, yeah, that's just pretty solid in my opinion. So yeah, pretty cool synergy with these 3 cards, and even for like Dynamist, being able to get one of your Dynamist monsters from your other pendulum zone and being able to get it to your field is pretty cool in my opinion. So yeah, pretty solid card for either Dracoslayer or Dynamist, just being able to get a monster out of the pendulum zone and also to be able to clear it up as well. Pretty cool pendulum effect. But going into the monster effect, its monster effect reads, this card is always treated as a Dynamis card. Again, not too surprised. You can only use the monster effect of this card's name once per turn. If this card is tributed, you can add one face-up Dracoslayer or Dynamis pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand, except this card. So this card is actually really cool. I know for Dynamis, they love getting the Dynamis monsters out of your extra deck, so that way you can get them back to your hand and reset up your scales to give some protection to your Dynamis cards. So for the Dynamis strategy, this is actually really solid in my opinion. And then for Dracoslayer, to be able to get back one of your Dracoslayer monsters to your hand, so that way you can either set up your pendulum seals again or just get it to the field, is really cool in my opinion. And yeah, I mean, this card is pretty solid for what it can do. It gets monsters out of your extra deck with its monster effects, so that way you can use them in the duel again, and it makes it easy to pendulum summon it, because obviously, you know, if they stay in the extra deck, you have to choose which one you're gonna pendulum summon if you don't have link monsters onto your field. So being able to get it back to your hand, so that way you can easily get it more out in the field and you don't have to worry about choosing which one you want to summon from the extra deck, is pretty cool in my opinion. And overall, it's a pretty interesting card in my opinion. I don't think it's as great as the other two cards that we discussed earlier, but I do think it's actually a pretty good card in my opinion. But with that said, that's finally it for the monster cards. I know that was pretty long discussion, but that's just to expect with pendulum cards. So yeah, that's going to be it for the main deck monsters. We have no extra deck monsters, so we can jump into the only new spell card, which is Dragonic Pendulum, a field spell card that reads, you can only use the second and third effect of this card's name each once per turn. All Dracoslayer monsters on the field gain 300 attack and defense, and if a Dragon Dracoslayer monster you control activates its effects, you can target one card on the field, destroy it. If this card on the field is destroyed, you can take one Dracoslayer or Dracoslayer monster from your deck and either add it to your hand or special summon it. So this card is really cool. Being able to gain 300 attack and defense for all Dracoslayer monsters, don't really care about that effect. It's nice, I guess, but 300 isn't a lot, if we're going to be completely honest. That effect is pretty irrelevant, in my opinion. The second effect is pretty cool, to be able to target a card on the field and destroy it when one of your Dracoslayer monsters activates its effects is pretty cool. It does specifically have to be a Dragon Dracoslayer, which is basically the entire deck except the 3 cards that we discussed in this video, so it's not really hard to be able to do that. So to be able to get a 1-card destruction effect is pretty cool, and then being able to add a Dracoslayer monster from your deck and either add it to your hand or special summon it when this card is destroyed, either by you or your opponent, it doesn't matter, is really cool in my opinion. Being able to add any Dracoslayer monster to your hand is really good in my opinion. More than likely, in my opinion, you're probably summoning Majesty Pegasus, or excuse me, you're going to add it to your hand, because technically this isn't a Dracoslayer card, so you can't activate the searching field spell effect of Majesty Pegasus. You're going to have to still do, you know, the Ignis Phoenix play, to where you pop that card on the field and then you're able to summon Majesty Pegasus to be able to search for your Mystic Mine, but still being able to get it to your hand so that way you can give it protection to your Dracoslayer monsters is still pretty cool in my opinion. And just being able to search for any Dracoslayer, doesn't have to specifically be Majesty Pegasus, is pretty cool in my opinion. So yeah, pretty cool field spell in my opinion. But with that being said, that is going to be it for the Dracoslayer support. General thoughts on the new support. I thought it was really solid support. I mean, each card I think was really good in their own perspective, but really the only card that I think is the weakest out of the bunch was Dynamis, and even that card I think was pretty solid in my opinion. So yeah, really good support for the Dracoslayer. But I will say this, the standout card was easily Majesty Pegasus. The fact that we now have a card that can easily search Mystic Mine is stupid. Konami, please, for the love of God, ban this card, because we do not need a card that basically can search Mystic Mine. For the love of God, before this set comes out, ban Mystic Mine. We do not need that card in the game at all. That card is just not fun to deal with. It makes it to where your opponent just can't play the game. And the fact that now we have a card that can search for it, please, for the love of God, before this set comes out, ban Mystic Mine. That is the only thing I ask from you. You can literally have only that card banned, I'll be happy. Obviously, Scythe is another one, but still, if there's any card right now that I think they need the ban before this set, it has to be Mystic Mine, because we cannot have a card that can search Mystic Mine that easily. Just get rid of the problem, ban Mystic Mine, so that way this card doesn't get too abused that much. And even if that card gets banned, it's still going to be a useful card, don't get me wrong, but we do not need a card that can search Mystic Mine, in my opinion. So ban Mystic Mine before this set comes out, so that way we don't have to deal with that. But getting that out of the way, even without that capability, I still think Majesty Pegasus is still good. Being able to add any field spell is really good. And like I said earlier, the other cards, in my opinion, are really solid as well. So yeah, this was pretty solid Dracoslayer support. But with that being said, that is going to be it for this OCG TCG video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your guys' thoughts on this new support for Dracoslayers. Did you think the support was good? Did you think it was alright? Or were you guys not really the biggest fan of this support? And let me know in the comments, and I know what the response is going to be for this, but you know what? I do not care. This question needs to be asked. Before Darkwing Blast gets released, do you guys believe that Mystic Mine should be banned? I strongly do believe that card should be banned. Even before this support came out, I thought that card should have been banned. I don't know why we still haven't banned it, but do you think this makes the incentive that, yeah, they need to ban it as soon as humanly possible? Because again, having a way to be able to search Mystic Mine is stupid and should not be allowed. So let me know if you guys think Mystic Mine should be banned in the comments below. But with that being said, that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, guys, take care and have yourselves a great rest of your day.